Every day, we see the darker side of the world around us. We witness how people can hurt others in ways that are hard to understand. It's a sad part of life, but it's something we can't ignore. As someone who dives into the world of crime, I'm here to share the most shocking stories and try to understand what drives people to do such things. I'm Michael, and today, I've got another unreal true crime story for you. On a chilly December night in 2016, the peace of a quiet Toronto neighborhood was shattered by the sound of a woman's screams. Screams that suddenly stopped as quickly as they began. Inside the house, three kids were asleep, completely unaware of the terrible events unfolding just a few rooms away. By the next morning, 40-year-old Dr. Elena Frick, a well-loved doctor and mother of three, had disappeared. Her husband, Dr. Mohammed Shamji, claimed she had left the house with a suitcase and another man. But what seemed like a simple explanation was hiding something far darker. What really happened to Alana that night? And how did her perfect life take such a tragic turn? Alana Frick was born in 1977 in Windsor, Canada, to Joseph and Anna Frick. She had an older sister named Caroline. Her parents were originally from Croatia and had moved to Canada in the 1960s to work for General Motors. After Caroline's birth in 1970, the Fricks faced heartbreak, losing two pregnancies and being told by doctors they wouldn't be able to have more children. Against all odds, Ilana was born in 1977, and her parents saw her as nothing short of a miracle. When Elena was young, the family relocated from Windsor to Tecumseh, a small town in southwestern Ontario where she grew up. Known as a bright and curious child, Elena spent much of her free time immersed in books. She attended St. Peter's Elementary School and later Santa Ana High School. In high school, she participated in Croatian folk dance and spent her summers working in nearby cornfields. Elena was also athletic, joining her school's track and field team. During her school years, Elana met a boy named Mathieu Renaud, and the two quickly became inseparable. They shared everything, from meals with each other's families to a deep love for music. In the 1990s, they fulfilled a shared dream of attending a Nirvana concert, their favorite band. Their bond seemed unshakable, and friends and family believed they were destined to marry. However, life took a turn after high school when Ilana began studying medicine at the University of Ottawa, while Mathieu stayed in their hometown. The long-distance relationship proved challenging, and despite their engagement, Elena eventually ended it, focusing entirely on her studies. Elena's drive to succeed stemmed from witnessing her parents' grueling work at the General Motors factory. She often remarked on how exhausting their jobs were and resolved to secure a career that offered financial stability and a better quality of life. Her determination paid off, and she excelled during her time at medical school. In 2003, while working as a resident at the Ottawa Hospital, Ilana was playing pool in the recreation room when she caught the eye of Mohammed Shamji, a neurosurgery resident. Mohammed, the son of renowned thoracic surgeon Dr. Farid Shamji, came from a wealthy and prestigious family in Ottawa. He had attended the country's best schools and was considered a medical prodigy. Mohammed began joining Ilana for games of pool and eventually asked her out. Ilana was captivated by his intelligence, ambition, and elite background. Despite her growing feelings, she sometimes doubted whether she was good enough for him. Their relationship, however, was far from perfect. While Ilana was deeply invested, Muhammad's behavior often left her disappointed. He skipped her medical school graduation under the pretense of being ill, only for her to later discover he had been out with friends. He was also unfaithful, seeing another woman from his university days. Despite these red flags, Muhammad's charm and persistence convinced Elena to stay with him, even after she had tried ending the relationship twice. In April 2004, Elena introduced Muhammad to her parents. Joseph and Anna were unimpressed, finding him distant and disinterested in engaging with them. Joseph advised Ilana not to settle for someone like Muhammad, believing she deserved better. One morning, Anna overheard the couple arguing. When she asked what was wrong, Ilana, visibly upset, insisted it was nothing more than a sleepless night. Anna left them alone, assuming it was just a harmless disagreement. Not long after, Ilana discovered she was pregnant. Muhammad faced a dilemma, as his Muslim parents would be furious about an out-of-wedlock child and his choice to marry outside their faith. Weighing his options, Muhammad decided marriage was the best solution. Together, he and Ilana began planning two weddings, one to honor his family's traditions and another for hers. On September 1st, 2004, Ilana and Muhammad held a traditional Muslim ceremony in Ottawa. At nearly 5 months pregnant, Ilana adhered to the customs, including having her hands adorned with intricate henna designs, which her Christian mother found unsettling. The wedding highlighted the stark contrast between the couple's backgrounds. Ilana's guests were primarily hard-working relatives, while Muhammad's were prominent figures in the medical community. Alcohol was officially forbidden at the ceremony, though some guests discreetly drank in the parking lot. While their union seemed like a compromise between their different worlds, the complexities of their relationship hinted at the challenges that lay ahead. Before their second wedding at a Catholic church, Ilana and Muhammad were required to attend several counseling sessions. Muhammad, however, refused to participate and asked John Mark, a mutual friend, to attend in his place. When John declined, the sessions were skipped entirely. Despite Muhammad's indifference and lack of effort, the couple proceeded with a small wedding ceremony at St. Francis of Assisi Church in Windsor. Unlike their first wedding, this one was modest, with fewer guests. To hide the lingering henna tattoos on her hands, Ilana wore elbow-length white gloves. After the ceremony, the couple rode in a limousine to the Caesars Hotel and Casino, where they spent part of their honeymoon. Shortly after, they purchased a home in Ottawa and moved there. Ilana began working as a family doctor at the Ottawa Hospital, while Muhammad continued his residency in neurosurgery. In January 2005, after a challenging pregnancy, Ilana gave birth to a baby girl. She was overjoyed by the arrival of her daughter, but Muhammad appeared detached and uninvolved. His focus remained on his career, often retreating to the upstairs study as soon as he returned home, barely interacting with his wife or child. Tensions grew when Muhammad's family visited shortly after the baby's birth. Ilana, upstairs breastfeeding, didn't come down to greet them, which enraged Muhammad. Later, he berated her, claiming it was her duty to welcome guests at the door as a sign of respect. Feeling increasingly isolated, Ilana confided in her parents, saying she felt as if she were walking on eggshells in her own home. Over time, Muhammad's controlling behavior escalated, and he began having unprovoked fits of anger. While Ilana rarely spoke about her struggles, friends and family noticed her growing unhappiness. Muhammad also criticized her appearance, ridiculing her weight gain and belittling her cooking. A month after the baby's birth, tensions reached a breaking point when Muhammad, in a panic, called Ilana's parents, claiming she wanted a divorce. Ilana quickly took the phone from him, assured her parents that everything was fine, and ended the call. Not long after, while her parents were preparing to attend church one Sunday, they received a missed call from Elena's home. Using their phone's redial feature, they called back, only to overhear a heated argument. Mohammed's furious insults toward Ilana echoed through the line, leaving her parents horrified. In the spring of 2005, Mohammed was accepted into a prestigious PhD program in biomedical engineering at Duke University in North Carolina. Seeing this as an opportunity, Ilana enrolled in Duke's master's program in public policy, and the couple planned to move to the United States that fall. However, just days before the move, an argument turned violent, and Mohammed physically assaulted Ilana. Terrified, she took her daughter and sought refuge at a friend's apartment. Mohammed, unaware of her location, began calling mutual friends until he eventually found her. After 3 days, he promised to stay with his parents if she returned home. Still afraid, Elena agreed, but asked John Mark to stay nearby for protection until her own parents could arrive. Following the incident, Mohammed faced 3 criminal charges, 1 for assaulting Ilana and 2 for issuing threats. These charges jeopardized both his career and his ability to cross the U.S. border to begin his studies at Duke. To salvage his future, Mohammed worked to reconcile with Ilana. A few weeks later, the family baptized their daughter in a church in Windsor. When guests at the reception asked why Mohammed wasn't there, Ilana told some he was working, but privately admitted to her cousin Rob that they'd had another fight. Rob urged her to leave Mohammed, assuring her she could find someone who truly loved her. Ilana, however, insisted they would work things out. On July 27, 2005, the authorities agreed to drop the charges against Mohammed if he signed a peace bond. As part of the agreement, he had to acknowledge that Ilana had reasonable grounds to fear him and accept a 12-month probation. With the charges dismissed just in time, Mohammed was able to begin his PhD at Duke and cross the border without issue. He moved to Durham, North Carolina, to start his program, and Ilana and their daughter joined him a few months later. Friends and family couldn't understand why Ilana returned to Mohammed. She was intelligent, financially independent, and had the unwavering support of her family. While some speculated that she was drawn to the status her relationship with Mohammed provided, others believed she truly loved him and held on to hope that their relationship could improve. In Durham, the couple settled into a routine. They began running marathons together, often waking up before dawn to train. Afterward, Ilana would drop their daughter off at daycare before heading to Duke University with Mohammed. Mohammed excelled in his program, completing his 5-year PhD in just 3.5 years. Despite his professional success, the cracks in their marriage remained, hinting at deeper challenges that could not be resolved by a change in location. Ilana excelled during her studies at Duke University, earning a rare scholarship that covered most of her tuition and being recognized as the best in her class. After her classes, she would pick up Mohammed and their baby before heading home to prepare dinner, a routine she repeated almost daily. In 2007, nearly 2 years later, Ilana became pregnant again and gave birth to the couple's second daughter in November. Friends of the couple noticed an imbalance in their marriage. Ilana was the one who drove Mohammed everywhere he needed to go. When her friend Valentina Nikolova asked her about it, Ilana simply explained that Mohammed disliked driving. But the imbalance extended beyond transportation. Ilana was responsible for nearly everything in their household, from grocery shopping to assembling furniture and even changing light bulbs. Despite her efforts, Ilana often downplayed her own importance, frequently telling friends how brilliant Mohammed was and how insignificant she felt in comparison. To outsiders, Ilana appeared to hold control in the relationship. Yet, she always sought Mohammed's permission for even the smallest decisions, displaying an unusual submissiveness. Meanwhile, Mohammed would call her multiple times whenever she was out, demanding to know where she was and who she was with. In 2009, after completing their studies at Duke, the couple returned to Ottawa, Canada, and moved into a house near the hospital where they both began working. Ilana quickly became a beloved family doctor, admired by her patients, while Mohammed advanced in his neurosurgery specialization, earning an award for the exceptional care he provided. Around this time, the couple became active on social media, portraying themselves as a wealthy, happy family with beautiful children. However, close friends knew that Mohammed controlled Ilana's accounts, dictating which photos she could post and even pressuring her to harass people he didn't like. Mohammed's controlling nature extended beyond social media and into their daily lives. He denied Ilana permission to subscribe to her favorite newspaper and restricted who their daughters could play with, dismissing children from less affluent families. He often insulted Ilana, calling her useless and stupid, and claimed he would have been better off without her. In 2011, Mohammed moved to Calgary for a year to complete a spinal surgery fellowship. Shortly after, Elena discovered he was having an affair. She found emails confirming the relationship and noticed a credit card charge for a hotel stay with his mistress on Mother's Day. When confronted, Mohammed didn't deny the infidelity. Devastated, Ilana considered leaving him, encouraged by friends who believed she deserved better. Yet, she stayed. Ilana yearned for his approval, believed she had invested too much in their life together, and hoped to prove she was worthy of his love. Mohammed promised to end the affair, and shortly after, he secured his dream job as a neurosurgeon at Toronto Western Hospital. The couple relocated to Toronto, purchasing a $1.5 million home in North York. Elena left her job in Ottawa and eventually found a position at the Earl Bales Clinic. However, she admitted to friends that the new job didn't excite her. She had worked hard to gain knowledge and felt her skills were underutilized. Once settled, Mohammed suggested having another child, noting they had an empty room in their home and expressing his desire for a son. Ilana agreed, hoping a new baby would breathe life into their strained marriage. In October 2013, the couple welcomed a baby boy. For nearly 2 years after his birth, their relationship seemed to stabilize. During this time, Ilana grew close to her new boss, Allison Kaufman, who lived across the street from their home. Their daughters thrived in private school, and Mohammed gained a reputation at Toronto Western Hospital for performing miraculous surgeries. In 2015, Ilana left her clinic job to work at Scarborough Hospital's Family Medicine Unit and became a district delegate for the Ontario Medical Association. Though her career was flourishing, Mohammed resented her success, reigniting tensions in their marriage. In March 2016, the family traveled to Vermont, stopping in Ottawa first to leave their youngest son with Mohammed's parents. That evening, Mohammed called Elena's parents, claiming she had severely cut her right palm and was undergoing surgery. Ilana later provided conflicting explanations for her injury, including hitting a glass on the counter, cutting vegetables, and breaking a dish while washing. None of her stories seemed plausible, and it was clear her wound wasn't accidental. In Vermont, tensions escalated further. The couple argued about Mohammed's affair in Calgary, during which he cruelly compared Ilana to his former mistress, claiming the other woman was far superior. The argument turned violent when Mohammed attempted to strangle Ilana. Later, Ilana confided in friends about the incident but chose not to report it, fearing how U.S. authorities might handle a man named Mohammed. A few months later, the couple celebrated their 12th wedding anniversary, which would ultimately be their last. Ilana gave Mohammed a heartfelt card that read, My dearest Mohammed, I love you with all my heart. 12 years, 3 kids, 4 cities, 2 countries, and a lifetime of memories. I can't wait for the next 50 years. But the truth was far darker than her words suggested. By late 2016, Ilana had started discussing divorce with Mohammed. Panicked, he begged her to reconsider, and though she agreed to think it over, her suspicions grew that he was involved with another woman. When Ilana confided her suspicions to her friends, one jokingly suggested that she should get a lover herself. Surprisingly, Ilana did just that. She met another doctor who was also married with children. He treated her with kindness and made her feel desired again. Ilana later told a friend it was the first time she'd experienced a shred of happiness since marrying Mohammed. Her lover encouraged her to leave Mohammed and imagine a life without him. Emboldened, Ilana consulted a lawyer to initiate divorce proceedings. She revealed something she hadn't told anyone else, that Mohammed had assaulted her violently in October. It was the final straw for Ilana, who decided she needed to leave, not just for herself, but for the safety of her children. By late November, Ilana officially filed for divorce. Mohammed attempted to win her back by gifting her a large box of chocolates, but she remained resolute. On November 24th, she sent an email to a friend apologizing for her recent absence. I'm in the process of separating from my husband, and things at home are chaotic. I'll try to catch up with you this weekend. I'll be away at a conference. Ilana attended the conference that Friday, where she spoke on panels, networked, and socialized. Mohammed messaged her throughout the weekend, feigning the role of a supportive husband. Upon returning home Sunday night, Ilana told her close friends that she had served Mohammed with divorce papers. Her lawyer had contacted him on Monday, emphasizing Ilana's desire for an amicable and swift resolution and requesting full financial disclosure. Ilana moved into the basement of their home, but Mohammed repeatedly moved her belongings back into the master bedroom. On December 1st, 2016, Ilana's family tried unsuccessfully to reach her throughout the day. Worried, they called Mohammed, who hesitantly claimed that Ilana had left the house the night before with a suitcase and her boyfriend. Ilana's mother, knowing her daughter would never abandon her children, contacted Allison Kaufman, Ilana's former boss and neighbor, asking her to check the house. Allison peered into the garage and saw that Ilana's car was still parked there. She informed Ilana's parents, who immediately called the police and set out on an overnight drive from Windsor to Toronto. When officers arrived at the house, Mohammed repeated his story about Ilana leaving with a suitcase. Following protocol, they searched the residence for any signs of her, but found nothing. Later that day, police discovered a woman's body stuffed inside a suitcase near the Humber River. She was barefoot, dressed in pajamas, and had severe head injuries. The autopsy revealed she had been beaten, sustaining blunt force trauma before being strangled. The body was taken to Elena's parents for identification. While Ilana's mother, Anna, couldn't recognize her daughter due to the swelling and damage to her face, her father, Joseph, tearfully confirmed her identity. "This is my daughter." The investigation quickly pointed to Mohammed Shamji as the sole suspect. He was arrested the next day at a cafe, where undercover officers handcuffed him at his table. Police discovered that Ilana had attempted to call 911 on the night of her murder, but only managed to dial 611 before Mohammed stopped her. It was also revealed that he killed her while their 3 children were in the house. Their eldest daughter later recounted hearing her mother's screams from her room. Fearing an intruder, she crept to her parents' bedroom and saw her father lying face down on the bed. When he noticed her, he ordered her back to her room. The crime shocked Canada, garnering widespread media attention. The seemingly perfect marriage of two accomplished doctors had ended in unimaginable tragedy. Elena's funeral was held on December 17, 2016, at St. Francis of Assisi Church in Windsor, the same church where she had been baptized and married the man who would eventually take her life. While awaiting Muhammad's trial, Joseph and Anna Frick moved into their daughter's home to care for their grandchildren, ensuring they could remain in their school during such a difficult time. In May 2019, over 2 years after the crime, Mohammed Shamji pleaded guilty as part of a deal with prosecutors, avoiding a full trial. He was sentenced to life in prison, with no chance of parole for 14 years. The case received extensive media coverage, and millions of Canadians followed the sentencing. Alana's eldest daughter publicly stated that she hated her father for what he had done and doubted she could ever forgive him. Today, Alana's children live with their maternal grandparents in Windsor. They frequently talk about their mother, but refuse to mention their father's name. Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations. Every day, we see the darker side of the world around us. We witness how people can hurt others in ways that are hard to understand. It's a sad part of life, but it's something we can't ignore. As someone who dives into the world of crime, I'm here to share the most shocking stories and try to understand what drives people to do such things. I'm Michael, and today, I've got another unreal true crime story for you. It was supposed to be a quiet night in a peaceful neighborhood. But everything changed when a woman, bleeding from her forehead and with duct tape on her hands, showed up at her neighbor's door, pounding and screaming for help. "Someone's in my house," she cried. "My husband is dead." When the police arrived, they found the house in complete chaos. Furniture was overturned, things were missing, and in the bathroom, they discovered a man's lifeless body, his hands tied behind his back. At first, it seemed like a robbery gone wrong. But as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered secrets of betrayal and obsession, leading to a plan so shocking it left everyone stunned. What really happened that night? The truth was darker than anyone could have imagined. Angel Marie Wilson was born in 1973 in the United States and grew up in Sterling Park, Virginia. She attended Parkview High School, and while much of her early life remains private, she later married and had 4 children into the world: 2 daughters, Michaela and Victoria, and 2 sons, Aaron and Benjamin. Unfortunately, their union ended in separation. And while the divorce was still being finalized, Angel's life took a new direction. In 2011, while dropping her children off at school, Angel met Milton Henry Sawyer, a man whose children also attended the same institution. Milton, born on July 9, 1963, in North Carolina, was the son of Doris and Henry Sawyer and had a sister, 3 brothers, and a half-brother. Milton excelled academically, earning degrees in mathematics and computer science from the University of North Carolina. After graduating, he worked managing university data, but ultimately sought a career that aligned more closely with his interests. Milton had long been passionate about antiques and collectibles. Turning that passion into a livelihood, he established a successful pawnshop and antique store called the Counter of Stranger, which focused on collectibles and precious metals. The shop was conveniently located just 3 miles from his home. Although Milton was married and had 3 children, his personal life grew complicated, and a later extramarital relationship resulted in a fourth child. The divorce that followed was amicable, allowing Milton to move forward. Despite their 10-year age difference, Angel and Milton began a relationship and married in 2012. Angel adopted her husband's last name, becoming Angel Sawyer, and together they created a blended family of 7 children. Angel also became actively involved in Milton's business. The store was renamed Treasure Hunter, and Angel took the lead in reorganizing the inventory to enhance its appeal to customers. Her efforts, including revising prices and creating a more customer-friendly layout, were highly appreciated by Milton. For the next 6 years, their lives seemed idyllic. As the older children moved out, the family home eventually housed just the couple and their 2 youngest daughters. In 2017, Angel experienced a minor car accident that left her with lingering pain in her shoulder and hip. After consulting several doctors without finding relief, she was referred to Isaac Melcher, a practitioner of dry needling. This alternative therapy, similar to acupuncture but focused on muscles and tissues, offered a glimmer of hope for Angel, who was growing frustrated with traditional treatments. In the fall of 2017, Angel began her sessions with Isaac. The early appointments were professional, with their conversations centered on her treatment and general topics. Isaac recommended a plan involving 2 to 3 sessions per week, and Angel agreed, hoping to find relief from her persistent pain. As time went on, Angel's sessions with Isaac became increasingly personal. She began to confide in him about issues in her marriage, painting a picture of her life as one of restriction and control. She claimed her husband, Milton, was domineering, focused solely on work and their home. According to Angel, he didn't allow her to spend time with friends or even attend church alone because he didn't want her around other men. Ironically, she also described him as distant and uninterested, alleging that even if she were naked beside him, he wouldn't pay her any attention. Her revelations grew darker as she recounted episodes of emotional abuse, saying Milton often shouted at her, causing severe anxiety that left her vomiting or suffering panic attacks. These complaints fostered a bond between Angel and Isaac. Though Isaac was married and deeply religious, he couldn't ignore the growing connection he felt to this vulnerable and seemingly misunderstood woman. Angel's behavior became more suggestive, and in December 2017, she sent him a bold message offering to share a photo of herself naked in a jacuzzi. Despite knowing the risks, Isaac couldn't resist and accepted her offer. This marked the beginning of an illicit affair. Their first date was fraught with hesitation, as Isaac expressed concerns about jeopardizing his career and his marriage. Angel appeared understanding and even offered to stop pursuing the relationship. However, during her next therapy session, she disrobed in front of him, breaking down his final reservations. The affair intensified, with the pair communicating through private messaging platforms and meeting regularly at the clinic under the guise of therapy sessions. By late 2017, their meetings occurred 3 to 5 times a week. In January 2018, their affair hit a snag. Milton began suspecting that Angel's therapy sessions were more than professional. Angel informed Isaac she could no longer attend his clinic. Isaac took this as a sign to end the relationship, but Angel pleaded, claiming she couldn't live without him and even hinting at suicidal thoughts. Whether genuine or manipulative, Her words convinced Isaac to continue their affair. By April, Angel had persuaded Milton to allow her to return to therapy, claiming it was necessary for her health. Though the therapy sessions were short-lived, the affair continued in secret. Angel frequently expressed fears of what Milton might do if he discovered their betrayal, adding to the tension between the lovers. It was clear Milton had strong suspicions, but matters escalated over Memorial Day weekend when the two families coincidentally crossed paths at Jeanette's Pier, a popular fishing spot. Milton was visibly displeased to see Isaac there, and the encounter was equally uncomfortable for Isaac, though nothing transpired at the time. A few days later, one of Angel's daughters called Isaac's employer to warn them that Milton planned to confront Isaac at the clinic. The clinic's management, fearing a confrontation, contacted the Elizabeth City Police. Officers were sent to speak with Milton, advising him to avoid Isaac's workplace. Following this, Isaac reached out to Angel to check on her safety, worried Milton might have harmed her. Angel reassured him, saying nothing had happened, yet. In June, Isaac's growing fear for Angel's safety reached a breaking point when he suddenly lost contact with her through their usual social media channel. After days of anxious attempts, he finally managed to speak with her over the phone. However, their conversation brought him no comfort. Angel explained that Milton had taken her phone, leaving her unsure if they could continue their communication or their relationship. By the end of June, Isaac was spiraling. Consumed by his obsession with Angel, he contemplated leaving his wife and their 3 young children to be with her. His thoughts were consumed with rescuing her from the supposed danger Milton posed. Angel confided that she was terrified of her husband and planned to move to Florida as soon as her daughters left for college. To Isaac, the idea of Angel leaving was unbearable, so he offered to find a safe place where they could continue their relationship away from Milton, whose suspicions of infidelity had grown. Though Angel repeatedly denied the accusations, Milton remained unconvinced. At some point, Milton even confronted Isaac at his clinic. Isaac firmly denied any relationship beyond professionalism, but tensions remained high. Everything came to a head in the early hours of August 2nd, 2018. A bloodied and frantic Angel appeared at a neighbor's door, pounding desperately. When the neighbor opened the door, they found Angel screaming hysterically, blood streaming from a gash on her forehead. Her hands bore remnants of electrical tape, and she appeared utterly terrified. Between sobs, Angel managed to say that someone had broken into her home and that her husband was dead. Alarmed, the neighbor immediately called 911. Emergency responders arrived quickly, tending to Angel's wound and carefully removing the tape from her hands for forensic analysis. After providing basic first aid, they transported her to the nearest hospital for further evaluation, while sheriff's deputies headed to the Sawyer residence to investigate her claims. At the house, the front door was locked, but the back door was ajar. The deputies entered and initially found nothing unusual. However, upon reaching the master bedroom, the scene shifted dramatically. The room was in complete disarray. Clothes strewn across the floor, furniture overturned, and drawers emptied as though someone had been frantically searching for something. But the most disturbing discovery awaited in the bathroom, where Milton, 55, lay face down, his hands bound behind his back with electrical tape. He showed no signs of life. Milton's body exhibited early signs of rigor mortis, and no visible wounds indicated the cause of death. Bloodstains in the bedroom hinted at a struggle, and it initially appeared that a robbery had gone tragically wrong. However, a closer inspection of the house revealed strange details, such as the back door key left conspicuously on an outdoor table, a glaring oversight for any intruder. While crime scene investigators began processing the house and Milton's body was transported to the coroner's office, deputies headed to the hospital to speak with Angel. According to her account, only she and Milton had been home that night, as their daughters were staying with friends. She said she and Milton had been in their bedroom watching TV when she decided to fetch some snacks from the kitchen. As she opened the bedroom door, she came face to face with an armed intruder, dressed entirely in black and wearing a mask that concealed everything but his eyes. Angel described how the intruder, wielding what she identified as a long-barreled handgun, shouted at her to get on the floor. He cursed repeatedly, demanding money and valuables, claiming he knew they owned the treasure hunting store and dealt in gold. The man forced Milton into the bathroom, ordered him to lie face down, and bound his hands with electrical tape. He then turned his attention to Angel, striking her in the head and rendering her unconscious. When Angel regained consciousness, she struggled to free herself from the tape. Once she managed to free one hand, she attempted to revive Milton, but he was unresponsive. Panicked, she fled the house and sought help from the nearest neighbor. In the days following Milton's death, the investigation progressed rapidly. Preliminary autopsy results revealed that Milton had died from asphyxia caused by neck compression. Investigators also confirmed that the intruder had entered through the back door, using a key that had been left conspicuously in plain sight. With this information, Angel was called back to the police station for further questioning. During this interview, she reiterated that Milton was a jealous man who didn't allow her to go anywhere alone. She explained that she spent most of her time at home with the children and relied on Milton for anything they needed. However, detectives were more interested in understanding why the backdoor key had been left so visibly accessible, particularly since the intruder bypassed the front door entirely, a detail unusual in cases like this. Angel explained that they had several children who frequently lost their keys, so leaving the back door key in an obvious spot had become their solution. She recounted the night of the incident, claiming that when she opened the bedroom door, she was confronted by the masked intruder. According to Angel, she was naked at the time and, fearing for her safety, grabbed one of Milton's shirts before complying with the man's order to lie on the floor. She said both she and Milton cooperated with the intruder's demands. The attacker tied their hands and demanded cash, jewelry, and the keys to their store, where he believed gold was kept. Angel struggled to explain how the intruder managed to subdue and move Milton, a man over 6 feet tall and weighing around 220 pounds. At one point, she said she tried to escape but was thrown to the ground, hitting her head on the edge of a table. She also claimed the intruder dropped his phone during the chaos. After helping him retrieve it, the man supposedly thanked God, took the phone, and left. Angel recounted how she freed one hand from her bindings, attempted unsuccessfully to wake Milton, vomited out of shock, and then sought help from a neighbor. Investigators questioned Angel multiple times, and during one session, she suggested a possible suspect, a man named Dylan, who had frequently sold stolen goods to their store. However, police quickly ruled him out as he was in custody at the time of the incident. The investigation took a dramatic turn when one of Milton's sons mentioned Isaac, Angel's therapist. He revealed that Milton suspected Angel and Isaac had a relationship beyond the professional, leading to significant arguments in the marriage. When questioned, Angel claimed Isaac had once been her therapist, but alleged he later harassed her with messages from fake accounts after she blocked him. With Isaac now on their radar, detectives visited him. Isaac denied any romantic involvement with Angel, but when asked to voluntarily surrender his cell phone, he claimed it had been damaged by spilled water and discarded. He said he had purchased a new device the same night of Milton's death from a convenience store, but had no receipt to prove it. When investigators checked the store, there was no record of such a purchase or any surveillance footage showing Isaac at the location. Detectives obtained a warrant to search Isaac's home, only to find that he had left for Oregon to visit his mother. His wife and children were also reportedly out of town. Meanwhile, Angel informed investigators that she had received a message from Isaac via a social media platform and handed over her phone. However, when police reviewed her phone, they found not only the message she mentioned, but also a series of exchanges that clearly indicated a romantic relationship between her and Isaac. Confronted with this evidence, Angel deleted the messages in front of the detectives, instantly raising suspicion against her. Isaac's conscience, however, was weighing heavily on him. While in Oregon, he reportedly confessed his actions to his mother. Encouraged by her advice, he also confessed to his pastor. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, the pastor contacted the sheriff's office handling the case. Detectives traveled to Oregon to interview the pastor, who agreed to help. At their request, he called Isaac to discuss the case, using a secure call application as requested by Isaac. Unbeknownst to Isaac, police were with the pastor, listening to the conversation on speakerphone. After exchanging pleasantries, which included Isaac's wife participating briefly, the pastor shifted the conversation to the subject at hand. He asked Isaac why Angel didn't simply divorce Milton. Isaac explained that Angel believed Milton would kill her if she tried to leave him. Driven by his love for her, Isaac admitted to abandoning his religious convictions and taking action. Isaac confessed that Angel knew more about the situation than she let on, but was aware that speaking up would implicate her, leading to her arrest and prosecution for conspiracy to commit murder. He also revealed that they were still in contact. This revelation gave police enough evidence to issue a warrant for Isaac's arrest. His confession also opened the door for investigators to question Angel again. Initially, Angel denied everything. Later, she admitted that during the supposed home invasion, she recognized the intruder as Isaac, but claimed she didn't reveal this earlier out of fear he would harm her as well. Angel maintained she had no knowledge of Isaac's plans, didn't provide him information about the night she and Milton would be alone, and didn't make the backdoor key accessible. However, it became clear that Angel knew the attacker was her lover. Though she initially claimed Isaac had harassed her, she eventually admitted to having a physical relationship with him, first claiming it happened twice, then 3 times, justifying it as a moment of weakness during a rough patch in her marriage. Yet, in another part of the interrogation, she claimed her relationship with Milton had been so strong in the 6 months prior that they were intimate nearly every day of the week. Angel alleged that Isaac pressured her to crush medication into Milton's food or drinks to kill him, even giving her a script of what to tell the police afterward. She claimed Isaac threatened her and her children if she didn't comply, though she insisted she never followed through with his demands. Her narrative was met with skepticism, and by late August, Angel was also arrested. On August 27th, a grand jury indicted both Isaac and Angel on first-degree murder charges. In February 2020, Angel faced an additional charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Isaac's wife stated that she only learned of the betrayal the night Isaac confessed everything. He even told her that if he somehow avoided prison, he planned to build a life with Angel. She chose not to testify against her husband, exercising her legal right as his spouse. Meanwhile, the community mourned the loss of Milton, a respected and beloved figure. People placed flowers and tributes at the door of his store, Treasure Hunter. Financially strained due to the ongoing investigation, Milton's family was forced to organize a fundraiser to cover funeral and burial expenses. Thankfully, the community's generosity allowed them to give Milton a proper farewell. As the case moved toward trial, Isaac, 38, and Angel, 45, remained in custody without bail. Despite the gravity of their actions and the looming consequences, the pair continued their relationship by sending coded messages referencing love through Bible verses. By October 2020, Isaac, convinced that Milton's family deserved the truth, agreed to speak with police and detail Angel's involvement in the crime. He handed over a blanket, a bottle of lotion, and a perfume bottle Angel had given him, along with the keys taken on the night of the murder. In his confession, Isaac admitted he felt manipulated and foolish, realizing that sacrificing everything for Angel wasn't worth it. Seeking closure, he decided to testify against her. Isaac revealed that Angel convinced him she couldn't leave her marriage because Milton would hunt her down and kill her and Isaac. He recounted how he tried to persuade her otherwise, promising to protect her from Milton, but Angel insisted the only way out of her marriage was through Milton's death. Blinded by love, Isaac eventually agreed. According to Isaac's confession, they initially considered mixing high doses of Milton's medication with alcohol to stage an overdose. In fact, Angel had once mixed pills into Milton's beer, causing him to sleep deeply until the following afternoon. However, they ultimately abandoned this plan for the more direct and brutal method that ended Milton's life. After her failed attempts to poison Milton, Angel insisted that staging a robbery gone wrong was the best option to eliminate her husband. Isaac, however, felt uneasy about the plan, fearing that such a scheme would inevitably draw police attention. Despite his reservations, he continued to communicate with Angel through the secret conversation feature of a social media platform, an account Angel had set up because she suspected Milton had hacked her primary account. In late July 2018, communication between Isaac and Angel became increasingly difficult. To resolve this, Isaac bought Angel a phone and, as agreed, left it hidden under some cushions on her back patio. Angel, in turn, left him a bag containing her lotion, perfume, and a blanket, items Isaac later handed over to the police as evidence. Isaac confessed there was never a fixed date for executing the plan, as it depended on the absence of Angel and Milton's daughters from the house. He waited for Angel to alert him when the opportunity arose. However, on August 1, 2018, Isaac noticed unusual activity on their social media account and feared that Milton might have accessed their private conversations, exposing their plan. Convinced that Angel was in danger, Isaac decided to act immediately. That night, Isaac prepared a bag containing duct tape, anxiety medication, small bottles of alcohol, and a handgun, from which he removed the bullets, believing the sight of the weapon would be enough to subdue Milton. Around midnight, he arrived at the Sawyer home, found the back door key where Angel had indicated, and entered. Following voices to the bedroom, he was about to knock when Angel opened the door. With no way to turn back, Isaac proceeded with the plan. Isaac entered the room, pointed the gun at Milton, and ordered him into the bathroom. There, he bound Milton's hands behind his back, put him in a chokehold, and applied pressure to his carotid arteries until Milton passed out. To ensure he was dead, Isaac tightened the hold. Angel checked Milton's pulse and confirmed he had died. Together, they staged the scene to resemble a robbery. They took money from Milton's nightstand, emptied Angel's jewelry box, and ransacked the room. At Angel's request, Isaac tied her hands with duct tape and struck her to make the scene more convincing. Unsatisfied with the injury, Angel slammed her own head against a surface, causing the wound on her forehead. Isaac then left, leaving Angel to carry out the remainder of the plan. The rest of the story unfolded as previously reported. The trial for both accused began in September 2021 at the County Superior Court. Angel's defense team moved to dismiss the charges, citing insufficient evidence, but the motion was denied. Angel refused to testify during the proceedings, while Isaac took the stand, providing a detailed account of the events. His testimony was crucial to the case, but Angel's defense sought to discredit him, arguing that he was an unreliable witness motivated by a desire to reduce his sentence. After less than 30 minutes of deliberation, the jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict for both defendants on all charges related to the murder of Milton. Angel was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Isaac was sentenced to 20 years in prison, with a release date set for 2042. Angel appealed her conviction, but in March 2023, her appeal was denied. While she retains the option to petition a higher court, it is highly likely that Angel will spend the rest of her life in prison.
Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.
It was a calm Monday evening, the kind where everything feels peaceful and ordinary. John and Michelle Stevens were relaxing in their open garage, enjoying the quiet as the day came to an end. A few miles away, a young man named Austin Harroff was dealing with something no one could fully understand, his thoughts spiraling out of control. What seemed like a normal night was about to take a dark and unexpected turn. What happened next would leave everyone asking the same question: how could this have happened? John Joseph Stevens was born on July 2, 1957, in the sunny state of Florida. Raised in a devout Catholic household by his parents, Helen and Jack Stevens, John grew up in an environment that emphasized faith, love, and kindness. Alongside his siblings, he spent his early years in Miami, where he graduated from Killian Senior High School. An avid amateur boxer with a passion for fishing, John also proudly served in the United States Air Force. As an adult, John pursued a career in landscaping. Though his first marriage ended in divorce, it brought him his greatest treasures: his children, Ivy and John Jr., affectionately called Junior by everyone who knew him. Despite the challenges in his personal life, the mid-1990s marked a turning point for John when he met Michelle, the woman who would change his life forever. Michelle, born on March 14, 1963, was the eldest daughter of Patricia and Jeffrey. She grew up in a close-knit family with her siblings Cindy, Jody, Greg, and Mason. Her family was well known in their community, partly due to Jeffrey's role as mayor of North Miami Beach. Michelle's striking freckled face and auburn hair, combined with her warm personality, earned her many friends and admirers during her years at North Miami Beach Senior High. After graduating from college and moving past her own brief first marriage, Michelle crossed paths with John as she embarked on her professional journey. Their connection was instantaneous. In June 1997, they exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony filled with emotion and hope for the future. During his wedding toast, John expressed how the prospect of their new life together overwhelmed him with joy. Michelle, looking into his eyes, called her love for him a rebirth into a richer, fuller life. Tragedy struck just a month later when Michelle's mother, Patricia, passed away at the age of 53 due to a heart attack, later attributed to the use of a popular combination of diet medications. Despite this loss, John and Michelle built a life together in a thriving neighborhood north of Palm Beach, Florida. They worked hard to secure a comfortable future. John left his job to start his own landscaping business, operating it from their home, while Michelle flourished in the financial industry. She played a pivotal role in the growth of Striano Financial Group in Boca Raton, earning the admiration of her colleagues for her guidance and generosity. She frequently encouraged her co-workers to participate in charitable causes, reflecting her caring nature. In his free time, John loved boating and fishing, often accompanied by Junior, his eldest son. Junior fondly described his father as an old soul who enjoyed reading newspapers and reminiscing about Miami's changing landscape. Their car rides were filled with stories of the city's history and life lessons, with John often reminding his son that true success lay in being kind to others. At home, John and Michelle transformed their garage into a cozy living space where they entertained friends and family, creating countless cherished memories. By 2015, the couple had achieved their dream of retiring, settling into a peaceful and fulfilling life. Known for their warmth and generosity, they became beloved figures in their community. One of John's favorite pastimes was driving his golf cart around the neighborhood with their dog, who was considered a third child in their family. But the activity that brought John and Michelle the most joy was deep-sea fishing. Their social media was filled with photos of them aboard their boat, proudly holding their impressive catches. As for Junior, a Marine Corps veteran who served in Iraq, John couldn't have been prouder of the man his son had become. Shortly after moving to Kansas following her marriage, Ivy brought immense joy to her father, John, by sharing the news that he was about to become a grandfather. Back at home, Michelle and John had transformed their once chaotic garage into a cozy and welcoming lounge. Outfitted with a flat-screen TV and 3 comfortable sofas, the space became a hub for casual gatherings. The open door was a clear sign that anyone passing by was welcome to stop in, which often happened. The lounge wasn't just a room, it was a reflection of Michelle and John's laid-back and warm personalities. Equipped with a cigar box, a grill area, an ice machine, and a dartboard, the space embodied their love for relaxation and camaraderie. Its beach-themed decor was a tribute to their shared passion for boating and fishing. This informal sanctuary hosted countless joyous moments, like the impromptu bachelor party John threw for his son's best friend. It wasn't fancy, but it was always inviting and filled with love. Nearby lived a young man named Austin Kelly Hariff, born on December 21, 1996, in Palm Beach, Florida, into a well-off family. The firstborn of Mina and Wade Hariff, a prominent local dentist, Austin grew up alongside his younger sister, Haley. When Austin was around 13, his parents divorced, and he and Haley remained with their mother. In high school, Austin became a robust teenager who played football. His life seemed ordinary, free of legal trouble or any concerning behavior. Coaches often told him to show more aggression on the field, but he was known as a gentle giant, standing 6 feet tall and weighing just over 200 pounds. After graduating, he enrolled in a state university, intending to major in biology. He joined a fraternity and maintained his interest in sports, but he also developed an interest in bodybuilding, which led to brief steroid use. Austin later claimed in social media videos that he had quit using steroids, but his troubles didn't end there. He began abusing alcohol and a range of drugs, including hallucinogenic mushrooms. Around the same time, he started experiencing depressive episodes, though they didn't initially seem severe. By the summer of 2016, at the age of 19, his father convinced him to work at his dental practice to make productive use of his free time and earn some money. During this period, Austin began experiencing delusions of grandeur and hallucinations. Patients at his father's office recalled him claiming to have divine abilities akin to Jesus Christ, even going so far as to bless dental instruments with water. His mental state rapidly declined as he reported hearing voices from God and demons, which fueled his paranoia. Alarmed by his behavior, his parents discussed having him evaluated by mental health professionals, but these plans were never realized. Meanwhile, Michelle and John celebrated their 19th wedding anniversary, reflecting on their enduring love and how incredible it felt to be approaching 2 decades together. They marked the occasion by sharing heartfelt photos, videos, and messages on social media, showcasing their bond that had only grown stronger with time. For those who knew them, their relationship was an inspiring testament to the power of love and commitment. A week later, at the beginning of August, Junior shared exciting news with his father. He would soon be bringing his 3-month-old daughter to visit, giving John the chance to meet his granddaughter for the first time. The days that followed were filled with eager anticipation and preparations for the special occasion. On the evening of Monday, August 15th, 2016, John and Michelle enjoyed a peaceful stroll under the warm Florida sun, completely unaware of the dark events about to unfold. Meanwhile, not far away, Austin Harif was preparing to have dinner with his father, Wade, and Wade's girlfriend. The voices in Austin's head, however, were relentless, dictating bizarre instructions, including what sports jersey he should wear to feel invincible. Austin followed these commands and left his house feeling an overwhelming sense of power. At the restaurant, his erratic behavior began to escalate. He told his father and others present that he was the embodiment of destiny, sin, and control. The unsettling statements caused tension, and Wade confronted his son, resulting in a heated argument. Without explanation, Austin stormed out of the restaurant. Later, back at home, his mother, Mina, found him consuming a bizarre mixture of cooking oil and Parmesan cheese while muttering incoherently. Alarmed by his increasingly unhinged behavior, Mina begged him to rest, but Austin ignored her pleas and forced his way out of the house. He returned to the restaurant, where security cameras captured him having another argument with his father. Afterward, Austin wandered aimlessly through the night, his eyes wide with terror and his movements mechanical. Unbeknownst to anyone, he was carrying a knife in his pocket. At that same moment, Michelle and John were relaxing in their open garage, enjoying the quiet evening. Suddenly, Austin approached them at great speed and launched a frenzied attack without warning. Wielding the knife, he stabbed Michelle and bit her repeatedly. She collapsed in the garage, fatally injured. The commotion alerted a neighbor, 47-year-old Jeff Fisher, who had been preparing for bed. Rushing to help, Jeff confronted Austin but was also attacked and sustained multiple injuries. Injured, Jeff managed to retreat to his home and call 911. By 9:20 p.m., emergency services were on their way, but the damage had already been done. Austin continued his assault on John, dragging him from the garage to the driveway. Despite John's attempts to defend himself, Austin inflicted deep knife wounds and horrifying bites to his face. John succumbed to his injuries, and Austin began stripping off his clothes and ingesting a chemical he found in the garage. When the police arrived, they found Austin still biting John's face in a nightmarish scene reminiscent of a zombie attack. Even after being ordered to stop and subdued with a stun gun, Austin remained unresponsive. It wasn't until a police officer intervened and bit him that officers managed to restrain him. As he was subdued, Austin pleaded for help and begged the officers to shoot him. Jeff Fisher and Austin were taken to nearby hospitals for treatment, while the lifeless bodies of John and Michelle were transported to the morgue. At the hospital, Austin continued making animalistic sounds, horrifying the medical staff. Unaware of the full extent of the tragedy, Mina called the authorities 2 hours after Austin had left the house. She expressed concern about his strange behavior, mentioning his delusions of immortality and superpowers. She insisted that he had no prior history of mental illness or heavy drug use, making the night's events all the more shocking and tragic. While Austin's mother was still unaware of the horrific actions her son had committed, the loved ones of Michelle and John were plunged into unimaginable grief. Neighbors struggled to comprehend how something so unjust and devastating could happen to a couple they described as warm, kind, and full of life. Ivy recounted in a later interview how, on that Monday night, police officers knocked on her door and informed her of the tragedy. They escorted her to her father's house, a place once filled with love and joy, now the site of an unimaginable crime. Overwhelmed and distraught, Ivy took Rebel, John's beloved dog, to live with her, knowing how much her father cared for him. "He was like a third child to my dad," she explained. The following morning, on August 16, 2016, the police held a press conference to address the events. They provided updates, including news that Jeff Fisher, the neighbor who had rushed to help the couple, was expected to survive despite suffering significant injuries. Regarding the suspect, Austin Haroff, he mentioned that his erratic behavior suggested he might have ingested synthetic stimulants. Junior, John's 28-year-old son, expressed profound gratitude toward Jeff, whom he called a hero, for risking his life to intervene. Junior believed that without Jeff's actions and the subsequent call to authorities, the attacker might have sought additional victims. Austin's family released a statement offering their condolences and expressing their devastation over the pain their son had caused. Despite their grief, they cooperated with authorities, who probed into Austin's medical and mental health history. Detectives sought to determine if he had any prior diagnoses or treatments for mental illness. Toxicology reports revealed traces of alcohol and cannabis, but no other illicit substances in Austin's system. The samples were sent to the FBI for further analysis. By Friday, August 19, 2016, a funeral service for Michelle and John was held in Fort Lauderdale. Michelle's father delivered a heartfelt speech, noting the heartbreaking coincidence that his daughter passed away at 53, the same age as her mother Patricia. Struggling to contain his emotions, he described the couple as two of the most remarkable people he had ever known. Surrounded by floral arrangements and large photos of Michelle and John smiling on a boating trip, friends and family shared memories of the couple. Later, they were laid to rest in a private burial ceremony. Weeks after the incident, Austin survived his injuries, including chemical burns to his stomach from ingesting toxic substances. Nearly 2 months later, he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, armed burglary, and resisting an officer. Austin pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. In a controversial move, Austin granted an interview to a well-known television host, during which his father, Wade, also spoke. Wade attributed his son's actions to untreated mental illness. This public appearance angered the victims' families, who felt disrespected. They criticized the Hariffs for speaking to the media instead of showing proper regard for the victims and their loved ones. Under Florida law, defendants are presumed sane unless they provide clear and convincing evidence of a severe mental breakdown at the time of the crime. Junior and Ivy, however, dismissed the insanity plea as manipulative. They pushed for the death penalty and questioned the national media's fascination with Austin, attributing it to his privileged background. For Junior, the issue was clear. Society struggled to reconcile Austin's clean-cut, affluent appearance with the monstrous actions he had committed. "To me, it's obvious," Junior said. However, the trial was delayed due to legal disputes, Austin's lengthy recovery, and later, the COVID-19 pandemic. What should have been a swift pursuit of justice turned into a drawn-out process, prolonging the pain of the victims' families. During the pre-trial hearings, details about Austin Hariff's history of substance abuse came to light. Medical experts called by the defense testified that Austin had experienced an acute psychotic episode during the night of the crimes. Meanwhile, the prosecution's psychiatrist conducted several interviews with Austin and concluded that the defendant was legally insane at the time of the murders. According to Florida law, legal insanity means an individual cannot distinguish right from wrong, which would support a not guilty verdict by reason of insanity. While the prosecution's findings deeply dissatisfied the victims' families, the defense welcomed the conclusion. On Monday, December 5, 2022, the very day the trial was set to begin, the judge accepted Austin's insanity plea. As a result, Hariff was committed to a mental health facility under the supervision of Florida's Department of Children and Families. He was ordered to remain there until deemed no longer a danger to society by both medical professionals and the court. The judge emphasized that Hariff could not leave the facility without explicit judicial approval. Had the trial proceeded, Austin likely faced a life sentence, the minimum outcome hoped for by the loved ones of Michelle and John Stevens, as well as their surviving neighbor, Jeffrey Fisher. Understandably, the families expressed their outrage at the ruling, declaring it a miscarriage of justice. Some directed their criticism at the prosecutors, although State Attorney defended his team's efforts. "We did everything within our power to make the case, but the evidence simply wasn't there," he stated. He suggested that the family's frustration was ultimately with the legal system itself, not the prosecution. He admitted that the outcome was unsatisfying and described the case as profoundly tragic, but reiterated the validity of the mental health experts' conclusions. In the months following the decision, Junior found some solace in remembering the simple, cherished moments with his father. He often thought of John preparing his favorite meal, tender steak topped with crab meat and hollandaise sauce. Reflecting on the past, Junior realized how easy it had been to take his father's presence for granted, as many do with their parents, until they're gone. Despite the heartbreak, Junior found peace in knowing he'd had the best father and stepmother anyone could ask for. Though their loss was immeasurable, their memory remained a source of strength and comfort in the face of unimaginable grief.
Thanks for tuning in to Unreal True Crime. If you're intrigued by mysteries from around the world, check out our new channel, Latin Crimes, where we dive into the gripping true crime stories of Latin America. Don't miss out. Subscribe now for more thrilling investigations.